Cultural diffusion and how cultures change. All cultures change over time. That is, their cultural traits change. We don't dress the same way that they dressed in the 1800s. Our clothing has changed. Our technology has changed, so the way that we communicate with each other. We used to grab a pencil and paper and write things down. Now we might text somebody. So those are changes to our culture. In general, for a new cultural trait to be adopted by a culture, it must offer some benefit or improvement over an existing trait. How cultural traits spread. A cultural hearth is a place where cultural traits develop. Traits from cultural hearths spread to surrounding cultures and regions. Customs and ideas can spread in many ways, including settlement, trade. When people trade, they don't just exchange goods. They may have in ancient times sat around a bonfire and shared ideas because travel was so slow and they had to wait to move on to the next settlement. Migration, so when people come from another country, they bring different ways of cooking foods, different habits and beliefs. And then through communication, languages. Cultural diffusion is the spread of cultural traits from one culture to another. In the 1500s, the Spanish explorers came from Europe and settlers brought horses to the Americas. There had never been horses on North America until the Spanish brought them on their boats. Many native people saw the advantage of using horses for moving quickly and for hunting. That's when Native Americans, horses soon became part of some Native American cultures. They never used horses before the Spanish came to hunt. I always picture them out west and chasing the buffalo riding horses, but that didn't happen until the 1500s, until the Spanish came. Cultural traits can also spread through trade. Traders can move among different cultures. As they travel, they carry with them elements of their own culture, such as food and religious beliefs. Traders expose people to these new traits. If people find that an unfamiliar religion or other cultural trait improves their lives, they may make it part of their own daily lives. For example, hundreds of years ago, Muslim traders helped spread Islam from Arabia to other cultures in Asia and Africa. In a similar way, migrants spread cultural traits. Migrants bring cultural traditions with them to their new homelands. Over time, many migrants or immigrants have come to the United States. Immigrants have brought with them foods, languages, music, ideas, and other cultural traits. Some of these new ways of doing things have become part of American culture. American culture is called the Great American Melting Pot because we have so many immigrant groups that have come and brought ideas. It's hard to say what is just American because really what is American culture is a blend, a melting of ideas from Ireland, from the African Americans that were brought here, from the Spanish and the Hispanic people that come from Central America and Mexico. Really, all of our foods, because taco is an American food, but we have an American version. It may not be how they cook it in Mexico. We've Americanized things, and that has changed over time also just with what foods are available. Technology and culture. Technology also helps spread culture. The internet, for example, has made instant communication common. Today, Americans can find out instantly what people in places such as Peru, India, or Japan are wearing, eating, or creating. So those ideas can spread. People can pick up that fashion in other places. If we like some of these traits, we may borrow them and make them part of our own culture. Rapid transportation technologies such as airplanes make it easier for people to move all over the world. As they travel, people may bring new cultural traits to different regions or bring ideas back home to their own region. Cultural change has both benefits and drawbacks. If customs change too quickly, people may feel that their culture is threatened, that it's disappearing. Some people worry that rapid communication is creating a new global culture that threatens diversity. Diversity is cultural variety, and we've talked about how diversity is so important to have to inventions, to new inventions, new cures, new medicines. When you get scientists from all different kinds of cultures, you bring a lot of new ideas together, and it gives them a chance to share those ideas and come up with something good together. Diversity is important, cultural variety. It's one of our core democratic values. These people fear that the things that make people and cultures unique and interesting might disappear. They worry that we might end up with only a single worldwide culture. This is a huge fear with Native American cultures. As the Europeans took over and they forced them onto reservations, many Native American people. There are still Native Americans today in Michigan. We have several tribes, but a lot of their cultural traits have disappeared, and they live just as we do, even though their heritage is strongly Native American. They might go to a powwow or be part of a tribe, but they don't speak the language, and you lose a lot of that culture because you've lost those traditions. Make sure you look at the pictures, the Chinese New Year, and then study the kind of guide different parts of cultural traits with cultural diffusion, talking about some of the items that have spread over time for food, brought by Spanish explorers. Language, adobe is the brick made of sun-dried earth, where these words come from. Clothing, and just make sure you take time to read those.